Good morning, everybody. So sorry that I can't be present with you in the room. I would have loved that very much, but due to personal reasons, that's not possible. But I will share some insights online with you. So I'm Erik Ballhausen. I work at the Executive Agency for Education and Culture here in Brussels, and I'm a principal community manager. I'm working in a unit where we manage all the Erasmus Plus platforms, so all platforms which are supporting the Erasmus Plus program. This varies a lot, so we have very big platforms which are 20 years old. eTwinning, some of you might have heard it. This is for working, enhancing the collaboration between schools across Europe and students. So this is massive. It has more than 1 million members. And we're doing this in Drupal, of course. So all our platforms are in open source. Otherwise, we also have a platform for adult education, digital transformation across Europe. So if there's some interest, feel free to reach out. I can provide more information because now we're going to talk about open social. So the context is Erasmus Plus. This is the educational program. So all the work we do is to enhance collaboration under this program in view of to develop a European or improve the European education area, as we call it. So that's the program. Then the second circle here is the playbook. A lot of you are probably familiar with this because our dear colleague who was just intervening with some questions, Frederic is one of the authors of this playbook. So if he's in the audience, so if you have concrete questions about that, feel free to reach out to him afterward as well, and also in the workshop. And the third circle is, of course, we're using open social. So how does this work? So this is very important for all of our communities. We base ourselves on the methodology in this playbook. This is now the approved community management methodology we use in the Commission. We promote this across the Commission. I'm one of the key people, and because we have a community of practitioners. I will come back to that a bit later in the presentation. But that's very important. It's very important because like that we have a clear understanding why we have certain communities, what their purpose is, and more importantly, how we make sure that we have real communities and not websites or networks. So it's very important. The community aspect is very important here. So the playbook, oh yeah, by the way, the presentation will be shared with you, and all the key images are hyperlinked, so you can directly get to the playbook and download it from the publication office of the Commission. Just to show you, the playbook is very detailed. So it covers really every aspect of community management. So it's very important to have a vision for your community. Then you have to agree on the governance of the community. Who's in the lead? Who's leading the community? Yeah, who are top contributors, but also leading in our organization from management. Who's leading? Who's responsible? Who's supporting the colleagues who work in the communities? Convening is also very important. So how do you actually get your members into the community? And of course, the important thing of communities is that the members have that there is an added value for the members to be in the community because they should be in the lead in driving the community. So communities, in contrast to networks is often exchange of information that's more pushing, whereas communities is pulling. Yeah, so you're pulling in the members, and you make sure that they can collaborate, exchange, and share, and they are the main driver of the whole thing. So it's not of course, there's guidance and there's a framework. That's our part, and that's under governance. But once you establish the community, it should be largely driven by its members. Yeah. So that's why it's very important to have a clear understanding. What kind of collaboration do you want to have in your community? Not getting members and then it happens by itself. I mean, you curate your community, so you can stimulate collaboration to, and so there has to be a clear vision on that as well. What kind of collaboration are you expecting? What if and also if there is cooperation between members, what kind of cooperation are you encouraging? Do you want to see happen? And so that is these points are very important. So that's on the left side, and on the right side you can see that we are very clear in the playbook to have that we have a clear understanding, about the purpose. Yeah, what is the purpose? What purpose should be the really the added value for the members. We all know that we're busy. The clearer the purpose is, and the more added value you have amongst the community of practitioners, the more active the community will be. Yeah? So that's why it's very important that there's clarity about objectives. So we for instance in the digital education hub, we started to do this in a participatory way, bottom up. So the vision was not defined by us in the commission. No, we invited people to the digital transformation hub and said, okay, this is really a community where we're going to establish a community amongst stakeholders in education who are working on this, and we want to enhance exchange and collaboration across Europe, but this should be your community. So we started off the vision and the purpose. We didn't define it. We invited it when we had 150 members who were interested in the project. We invited them into a design workshop and online actually. And within 1.5 hours through the design workshop, the members agreed on the vision for the hub and also its purpose. So this was 100% bottom up, and the members decided what the hub should be about. Of course, in the community, this is not written in stone. The hub is now in its 4th year, and we as we go along, it's a process. Communities are a process. As we go along, this develops. Yeah, so that's some elements here and some main ideas. Now we come to open social. So why did we choose open social? Well, we are very happy. We were attracted already by the name. It says social because a community of practice is also a lot of social contact and social activity. So that already the name was already striking, like music in the ear. But then we had these communities you see here at the bottom of the slide. They existed, but they were websites and they were network-like. So of course, open social is perfect because some of the stuff we had already was in Drupal, so it was familiar to us what possibilities there are and how to manage it. But the really main advantage is of course that it's out of the box. So there's no development from our side. We just decided to take open social, and then we have brilliant partners like Taco and especially Jamila, who's our support in setting this up. So this is also a different experience. And because open social is a community in itself, they have exactly what we wanted. The way we work with the colleagues in open social is also like a little community of practitioners of managing the networks. So what is very important, the multi-community concept for us is very important because in the Erasmus program, previously there were separate websites for each of these. Yep. So there was a website for the Sphere network, for the Erasmus Mundus network, for the national focal points, and then study in Europe is the new activity, which was interesting because now we have, as you can see, this is the homepage, and all these networks are access to this same homepage. And that's where the multi-community concept starts. So not separate, no, they're all together. And this is a new way of working, which mainly happened after COVID. That's very important. Now we have the same entry point. We're not there yet. So if you're familiar with the technicalities of Open Social, we're using the organization concept, not the dashboard, because each community is treated like a separate organization, because I will come to what they do in a moment, because it's important that they're parts which are only seen to certain people of each network, but they're parts where they share content, and especially where they make content publicly available. So instead of having one different website with all this content, which is very confusing, we have one entry point, and the communities are working with it within their communities, but important outcomes will be shared, will be made public through the same entry point. So these are networks of people, and they work on specific content. I will explain in a moment. Study in Europe is new, so the the commission saw the advantage of having the communities together, and of course this creates a wider audience. Yep, because of course there are people who only are interested in this. There are people who are interested in Erasmus Mundus, and there are people working in the national focal points. But the outputs are because it's the Erasmus program. The outputs are interesting to a wider audience. So now we have Study in Europe, which is actually a network of the national agencies where we will share information and collaborate with the national agencies, which are in the each of the member states on Erasmus. And they will collaborate together. We're very happy that we have Collabora. They are starting now, so they can work online in the tool and then make information publicly available. And the information which will come out of the Study in Europe network will immediately help and support the other communities, because that's key information they need. So, so you see what is very nice. We have the homepage, it looks like this, but then we have the organization concept. So each of these networks exists independently, and I love this so much. This is the look and feel of open social. Each community can have its own setup completely. So we're using, again, very important, we're using the organization management opportunity. So each community can have its own look and feel, and it's fine-tuned to the needs of the people working in each of these communities. So you can see that they already each this is there's three home pages, and they all have a different setup. Oh, fantastic. This is so fantastic, because again, each community can address their members directly in the way they want to do it. In the sphere, they have a lot of activities. So that's why we have activities here in the middle, but they also need to be updated on the latest information. So we have here a stream with updates. Yep, the Erasmus Mundus community is a network of ambassadors. So they work differently. So they don't have a news feed, latest updates, because they meet on site a lot, and they use the network then to consolidate. So the latest news, they share it on site, because Erasmus Mundus is working worldwide. So here it's more like a central point that all the activities in the different countries across the world, and it's really across the world, they have a focal point in the platform, and therefore, they have spotlight. That's important activities, just to spotlight them, because the spotlight might happen in Japan, and the people in the rest of the world will not necessarily travel to Japan to take part in the spotlight activity. But it's important to spotlight certain activities, because if they're innovative, then the other the members of the network, of course, might be interested how this came about, how they do this. And again, important, the framework is the Erasmus program. Okay, so yes, they're working worldwide, but the rules of the program in Erasmus Mundus are the same. So that's why again, collaboration makes sense. And in the past, not if there was something in Japan, in they didn't hear about it in Portugal. Thanks to the platform, they do. Yeah, and that's again that's again the power of the community. Um, so here you see that, for instance, here it's important resource library because again, events are in different locations, but because the framework is Erasmus Mundus, events are organized in a similar way. So it makes perfect sense to, for instance, share certain templates, and therefore it's very handy to have a library to find them. You can filter, you can decide whether it's only visible to the network if it's in a draft status or if you're trying something out, and if it's really tested and everything, then it can be made public and other people can use the thing as well. So then you see again, look, it's again completely different. The national focal points, a completely different look and feel again. Certain things, again, the type of information and how it is shared is completely different between all the networks. But again, it's under Erasmus Plus, so these are support structures in members in member state in not yet member states where we collaborate with them and exchange on good practice. So that's why, for instance, support here, the support materials are very important, but also welcome if they're new colleagues, there's a big turnover, so they have this special welcome part here. So there we go. And here I will not read this out. This is just to show, and you can read this afterwards. These are the three communities and what they are about. The only thing I want to say here is the look at the difference. Yeah, so this is focusing on higher education reform experts. So they're experts in the field, but they are working on reform. Erasmus Mundus is a network for national agencies in 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 the countries taking part, and this is worldwide. And but also, what is very important, they are starting with an alumni association. So people who have benefited from Erasmus Plus in the past, they normally have a contract of 3 years, then it's finished. But let's keep contact, and that's again why the community concept is important. What is the added value for the community to have alumni? Well, they have certain experience newcomers don't have, and the community can easily bring them together. Yeah, so that's different. So here we're clearly not pushing information. They are there and they can reach out. An expert can easily be identified. And if I'm in Africa, in South Africa, is there any expert who had a previous project in Erasmus Mundus, and I can look it up, community, I get in contact with them and they collaborate. For the person who's new, they can learn. For the person who has done this in the past, stays in the loop. Yeah, because through the collaboration, you stay in the loop, what is happening in the Erasmus Mundus program, even if you don't have the contract. And that's again an added value in community of practitioners, that there is that they that it provides something which doesn't exist elsewhere. And the last thing is um, the the um, um, the network here for promoting the Erasmus Plus program. Again, you see here, it's a wide range. It covers the whole world, so it's very, very outreaching. But here it's a dedicated network for national focal points. National focal points are created by the ministries, and so there's a certain framework, and they work in a similar way with the aim to promote Erasmus. So again, a community of practitioners, they have a certain task which they share, and the added value of the community is, of course, that they can share information but also collaborate. if a country has very little experience, they can reach out to countries where there is more experience, and they work together to support each other. So very quickly, this is an overview of how we manage, how in the Commission we manage the Open Social Erasmus Plus network. So the business owner are the operational units. So we have the different here. These support different parts of the Erasmus program, which is done by different operational units who manage who implement the program and they work with these partners together. So the operational units are the business owner, and one operational unit is the site manager. That's my unit. I'm the main site manager, but together with two colleagues, Mitch and Johannes, we're the site managers. We oversee the whole thing and support the operational units who are in charge of the business. How do they do that? Well, you can imagine, some of these networks are very big, and also, of course, networks like worldwide communities. It takes a lot of time to set things up. So the direct management of these communities is done with subcontractors. So there's a tender procedure, public procurement, and there's a contractor for each of the communities. Okay. So we have the structure is we have site managers who overlook that one important task is that for instance that we have agreement that everybody uses the organization concept. Okay, that in the beginning some set up, but it's maybe better for us dashboard functionality in open social. No, we all now have we agree, we discuss, and we agree that it's organization. So that's the site manager. Site managers, they have to make sure that there is coherence, and they discuss with the operational units to identify what their needs are, and then we, as site managers, can come forward with the technical how this can be implemented technically. That is then agreed, and then it's set up together, often with the support of Open Social, of course, with Jamila, our hero, and and um, and then the contractor starts working. So what is nice, what I said, it's out of the box, but then the contractor, they create the groups, they curate the content. What here, for instance, so we had uh, the content here that's done by the contractors. For instance, managing the libraries, curating it, archiving old stuff, making sure that if there were events that people submit things into the library. So they have a key role. The contractors have a key role in curating the community. And then our open social, because of sensitivity of certain information, but also because of data protection, are hosted in the commission. So we have a separate instance of open social hosted on the servers of the commission, which is very important for us because we have to make sure, for instance, that members use EU login, which is the secure system of the commission to access anything which is happening online in the commission. So that is very important. So we have DG Digit who is doing this, and they provide technical support. So they help with testing new functionality. When we switch to organization, they tested functionality for us. So that's very important. When we had Collabora rollout, we're still doing that. They also support testing and also explaining the technical functionalities. And as I said, this is very important that we're hosted on commission servers. Yeah, and then of course, this is the internal part. Then we have an external but still internal partner, DG Digit, and then we work with Open Social. They provide obviously the platform, and here this is the second bullet point, very important, the client support. This is really outstanding, and I have to say that this really was a game changer for us. In the past, we had subcontractors, and they just said, we develop and you do. The client support is really very strong, and we like it a lot. also because we come with proposals, and the multi-community concept was something we really needed, and Open Social is really open-minded, and we're working closely with Paco here to make this happen. And also, so that's the thing that, you know, we can provide the business case. Yep, what the needs are and how to improve things. Now we're working with organization, but if we have the multi-community concept, this can become even better because the organization is still a bit separate. They're on the same platform, but certain things are a bit restricted because certain activity can't be shared across. Can't be individualized per community. So that's something we're working on. And of course, what I personally like, Open Social is a community in itself. You know, when you look at how they make information available, they have the Open Social community talks thing, for instance. This is very much community-like, and you know, our business units, they were amazed by this, how, you know, how Open Social walks the talk in the sense that they consider themselves a community of all our communities. And it's very interesting because, you know, the Open Social is used worldwide. We have been in the past in contact with Greenpeace in Belgium, who are using Open Social. Frederic is now working for the UN. We're still in contact with them. They're using Open Social. So there's also this international exchange, which is very interesting. And then here at the bottom, you see we manage everything in Teams, no email. So also we are very happy. We onboarded Open Social into Teams now, into the Commission Teams, where all these three now come together. So we have a Teams group where we bring everybody together, the operational units, we are the site managers, the contractors, DG Digit, but also Open Social. So this really makes the whole management process very efficient and very transparent because also from the business owner side, they are different units and they were in a silo. So when we started off, I was running around a lot between the different units to discuss and decide. Now we have one instance in Teams, and this works very well. Um, Now, what is very important is that I showed the playbook. So what we do is in the commission, we have, of course, this is let's say our business, but there are other communities in the commission, and the multi-community concept can play an important role here as well because we have other communities and there is overlap sometimes. So to see and to understand this better, we created a working group, Communities in Dialogue. We use Viva Engage for this, and here we have different activities to exchange on good practice in using the playbook. So we have in my unit, we're using it since a long time in Education for Climate, where Frederic was working in the past. This is now has come to my unit as well. They set up the community with in line with the playbook. So that's, let's say, the most advanced community. So but there are new colleagues who start off. So that's why we have the Communities in Dialogue where we exchange and work and exchange good practice. Yeah. And we meet in person. That's very important. Community, you can do a lot of things online, but it's very important that you meet in person from time to time, which is why I'm very sad that I couldn't be in Amsterdam. Okay, so that's that. And here you see, so in person get together, and then we do this completely bottom up. We use participatory collaboration techniques to engage with the with the members of this community. And then for instance, we identified that there were certain areas where the playbook was too theoretical, and we had to become more practical. So and some useful things which always happen. So we have developed on the basis of the playbook completely in line with the playbook, we developed some tools which help people. For instance, when you set up a community of practice, we have a checklist. What needs to happen before you do it? Then we have a roadmap. What are the different steps the community has to go through? Yet the communities of practice is a process, and it's very simple. When a community starts off, everybody is in the same situation. But then the community grows, and new people in year 2 and 3, there will be new people who have to be onboarded. But there is already a community, so your onboarding strategy has to go along with the development of the community. It's no good to say, well, we have the community welcome, and here you are. Newcomers, you have to guide them what is already there, who's doing what, and the onboarding is very important. Yeah, so and we have a community barometer that's also very important. Sometimes you have a lot of members, but they're not very active, so the barometer helps you to understand what is happening in your community. Where are the strong points, which are good and can be further developed? Where are weak points where we need to develop something? And I'm half an hour, so we should stop. Just to mention the compass. That's a guide particularly for digital communities. There we are. I don't know if we have time for some questions.
Thank you.
I'm happy to take any.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your presentation. It was very insightful. I hope for everyone as well. We can definitely have time for Q&A. Are there any questions for Erik? Taco.
Hi, Erik. All the way from, I can say hi. So we today, and you will be pleased to hear it, launched Lumina Insights, our analytics solution. And last time we showed you some screenshots, and you said, I'm probably even more exciting than you are. Can you explain why this is so important for Erasmus Plus networks?
Yeah, so it's in terms of community engagement, we are, of course, there are two things. The contractor has to deliver certain things, and there we have key indicators. So that is very important, so that we can have visibility on what actually happens in the community, to have an overview. On the other hand, the barometer here, the community barometer, that's very important. So that can feed into that, so that we can see, when we check what is happening in the community, we can see who does what at what time. So that is very important information, and it's in real time. So if there was an event, we can immediately check what happened and how people after the event, whether it has impact. Was there more interaction, things like that. So for us, it's really important. And as I said, when we look at this here, so there are the different communities, and the way they collaborate is quite different. And when we talk to them, they tell us this and that, but we don't have a complete overview. What is happening on the whole network, which has these 3 different networks. So to identify good practice, not on hearsay, but on really, okay, they have events and immediately there's more interaction afterwards. And why is that? Yeah, so this is this is very important to curate, to be able to better curate the community. So we're very happy to be able to get the tool.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, Erik. My question is actually on the playbook. So it's a bit, if that's okay, and probably merits a longer conversation, but still. So, I mean, I've looked at it. Maybe it's been a year and a half ago, so it's been a while, and it's fascinating. And one thing that struck me is how detailed it is, in the sense that how many components you have, and what you just said, that you're basically, it's approved, everybody's using the playbook, which means you're kind of going through the checklist, and like if people don't complete the checklist, like you don't move forward.
Yeah.
And to me, that is exceptionally, that requires exceptional commitment on behalf of both the community manager as well as the actual core team, like the people who are doing this. Because in my case, if I were to take the playbook, and I've looked at it, and I've even had a thought experiment, like I wouldn't be able to get my team or the teams that I'm supporting to do 1/20th of the things that are in the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I'm really curious, how on earth could you get both the buy-in and the time? I mean, the time from, like, again, not the community manager, but the time from the core team, from the people involved, to actually use this, follow this, commit to this, etc.
Okay, yeah. So it's really about governance and process management. So it's not like tomorrow we will use the playbook and everybody starts doing it. It's always a process. So if you set up a community, then you can look at the playbook and look, okay, which parts of the playbook would support my work the most. Yeah. So and that is linked to purpose. So first of all, what is the purpose of your community? And then you can look at, okay, you can when the purpose is clear, then you can think about objectives which need to be reached. And there you can look at the playbook. Okay, how can the playbook help me reach my objectives? So that's how I sell it to my team. It's not like now we do this, because it's a different way of working. Yeah, it's quite a new way of working. So that's why I do it. I convince my colleagues always through the purpose and the added value. Yeah. So for instance, when we started the Digital Education Hub, there was a big discussion: what is the purpose and the vision? And with another colleague, we said, well, shouldn't we ask the community? It's not our community; it's their community. We're just let's say hosting them, and they should collaborate. So they should define the purpose. And in the beginning, it's a new way of working, so that takes time. But as I told in the presentation, we had a design thinking workshop, 1.5 hours, 150 participants online, and after 1.5 hours, we had the vision and the purpose decided and agreed. Yeah, agreed amongst 150 members. So the thing is that there are methodologies which help you do this. Yeah, the playbook describes certain things, but at the Commission we use a lot the art of participatory leadership, where we have these kind of methodologies like design workshop. I'm trained in that, so I can do it. So that's if not, then it can be helpful to get an expert who is trained in that and who can help you with that. But there are certainly things where you have a lot of gain, where you have a lot of gain. For instance, when we started Open Social, the switch, that they went from website to community, it took some time. And I remember when we met in the first year with Jamila, and then we went online, and then Jamila was looking a bit sad because the kickoff, where are the members, Erik? Why aren't they using this? Why aren't they doing that? Yeah, and that's change. That's also part of the story. It's change management. Yeah, so it's not. I'm not in favor of now we do it and do it top down. No, you have to convince them and take them into this process. And that for our networks, it took a year. It took a year. But now everybody's online, and now we have the gain. Now we have the gain, because in the beginning you have to invest. But if your community works, then you can sit back, because they engage. Yeah, it's not my task to tell them what to do. They decide what they do and they collaborate. Yeah. So yes, in the beginning you have to invest more time, but then you have gains. And frankly speaking, in my team, I was the only one doing trained in participatory leadership. Now 5 other colleagues have also found interest in that, because the great thing is that we're the Commission is very hierarchical, but this approach is really bottom up. So it's very, very interesting and very engaging.
Yeah. Thank you, Erik. That was definitely very insightful. I hope for you as well, answered some questions as well as Arco. So I think, Erik, thank you so much for joining in. And as well, even though you couldn't make it, I hope you'll make it next year again, and we get to see you face to face. I will definitely miss you at the workshops, but I'll inform you what happened. And what took place, and everything as well will be recorded and posted. But thank you so much, Erik, and I wish you a lovely day.
Thank you for having me, and I wish you a good continuation.